21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
We're talking about how to bring billions, maybe even trillions of dollars worth of value back to people who drive their cars every day, who own connected devices, or who are generally just technology enthusiasts. And we're doing that by returning them control over their data and giving them access to a much bigger ecosystem of products and services. My name is Rawitz. I've been in the technology world for over a decade. I've been a part of a number of different startups across telecom and finance and many other verticals. And today I'm speaking to one of the co-founders of DIMO. I've been working in the technology world for years, and I worked at IoT companies. I worked in the finance world, specifically in blockchain applications. And one of the things that always really struck a chord with me when it came to why blockchain was super interesting was not just thinking about financial applications, but actually really thinking about machine-to-machine payments and what things like smart contracts could do for the IoT world. It's really interesting when you start to imagine machines, especially as you get into autonomous machines like robots and robotaxis and things like that. How does the world change when those things have their own wallets and when they can pay for services and when the AI agents can interact with robotics and things like that? Myself and my co-founders have really been kind of thinking about the nexus of IoT and blockchains for years and years. And we finally saw an opportunity to start building a product in this space about 4 years ago, when we started DIMO. And what really unlocked a huge amount of just confidence that now was the right time to build this was seeing projects like Helium, building a decentralized IoT network, and seeing just a whole bunch of other innovation in the space that made us confident now's a great time to start bringing people back to ownership of their device data. You've probably thought about this maybe very surface level, but not like really thought about it deeply. But the world is like filled with devices and sensors, and more all the time. 40 million households in the US have some kind of smart home device. Of course, every single person basically has a smartphone. All of our cars are now smart. If you think of cars as an IoT device, as a category, it's actually 5 times bigger than all other devices combined. This is just a massive new shift in what cars are and what mobility can be. And the real thing that is holding back innovation, we're getting lots of new devices and there's all kinds of new services, and that's great. Like, everyone is experiencing new stuff, but there's a whole new level of innovation that can be unlocked if we can make all of these kinds of devices more interoperable. And I can give you a really simple example that is just like one sliver of one part of the automotive industry, and then you can extrapolate out to the automotive world, to the vehicle to connectivity world and beyond. So one of the central problems that actually a couple of my co-founders were working on prior to starting DIMO was, how do you have an autonomous vehicle talk to a smart parking garage? You need the vehicle to be able to speak with the sensors and the payment systems of the garage, and that means a handful of tech integrations. So maybe you can do that, but then you have to start to account for all the other kinds of vehicles. And then you have to start to account for all the different technology that's going to be in the next garage and the next garage. And all of a sudden, across the world, you have this huge interoperability problem between lots of different cars and lots of different devices. And what we believe at DIMO is that interoperability problem can really only be solved by fundamentally rethinking the foundational technology that runs on all those devices. how the data is stored, how feeds are made available, how permissions work. All of that needs to be reconsidered from the ground up if we're going to maximize the value that those devices can create in our digital and physical world. So we started building DIMO. We always knew we wanted to go down the route of creating a bunch of, most of what we're building is open source. That's the whole vision for the project, that if we're going to actually maximize all these things I've been talking about, interoperability, value data, make it easier to build, we need to build some open source pieces here. And, as somebody who'd been a part of a number of startups prior to DIMO, building in an open source way is uniquely challenging and interesting and invigorating in some ways, but it's certainly very different. So one of the things that we did early on is we actually set up a nonprofit entity and moved a bunch of our intellectual property over to the nonprofit. And we still have our US corp, which is committed to building the value of that technology. It's sort of like a Linux and Red Hat thing. But we're working to bring on other entities in other parts of the world that are, maybe know their markets or their industries better than we do. And we believe that the ultimate vision of DIMO is best achieved by building open source and helping to grow the number of contributors. It's been fascinating because we've also attracted a ton of hackers and community members who see the vision and want to contribute, and people from all over the world who show up and say, this is really cool. I know how to do X. And maybe it's something very specific, like I have codes that help you read data better from this specific kind of car, but we can give them a way to actually add their value and add their expertise into the greater picture of DIMO. And it's not, I think, a model that is a fit for every business problem and for every, entrepreneur. But for us, it was a really interesting and really key part of the DIMO vision was how are we going to coordinate an entire ecosystem around building this vision versus just manage that internally at our company. The ecosystem is really just getting started, and that's in part because we, towards the end of last year, shipped the first real MVP of our developer platform. And so what happens now, and for most people, their experience with DIMO is they connect to their car through the DIMO mobile app, and we can talk more about what that means here in a moment. But you connect your car to the DIMO mobile app, and then the next thing that you can do is you can actually explore a handful of other applications that might bring you value. As an example, you connect your car to DIMO, you're now storing your data securely in a DIMO data vault. You can then choose to share your data with a company that maybe offers you a battery warranty, or maybe offers you a way to earn carbon credits for driving an electric vehicle, or maybe gives you a discount on insurance. All of those applications need some amount of data from you. You're just able to share it in a private and secure way where you're managing consent and you're managing the opt-in of that data sharing. Now we start to have an ecosystem. As a driver, you go from maybe having no apps or one app for your car to having many apps that have make your car ownership experience better. And we can take this model and we talked about earlier, we can take this model from just cars, which are the biggest category of devices, and extend that to lots of other types of devices. So another quick example, most of us, we all use our smartphones, and your smartphone would be pretty boring if the only apps you got with it were, the notepad and the weather and the alarm clock. And the whole magic of your smartphone is it's a device that lets you use tons of different apps. And we believe that the future of every device, it doesn't matter if it's a car or a phone or a robot or a sensor, every device is going to need access to new types of applications and probably also new AI agents. And so this model of enabling any device to tap into an ecosystem is what we have been building the foundation for at DIMO. types of companies that work with us today and that we've been prioritizing, that we're selling to, are right now mostly in the automotive industry. And that means companies that are interested in getting access to automotive data for the first time, or are already using some data, maybe an insurance company, a warranty company, a used car marketplace. What they can get from DIMO is first-party user data opted in. So it doesn't come with privacy implications. They're not worrying about whether the automaker had the right to sell it or no right. The user shows up, shares some of their data, and now the business has an advantage either to customize a product or deliver a quote or do something new. We're also working with larger entities in the auto space that want to build their own ecosystems. So these could be automakers themselves. These could be really big dealership groups. These could be roadside assistance companies, big automotive conglomerates. These are companies who are realizing that they are losing ground in the innovation battle. They can't build apps quickly enough. They can't build services quickly enough to keep their users engaged. And so they come to DIMO to, one, build faster because we have developer tools that help them speed up, and two, to monetize through an ecosystem. Because we can create these connections between the enterprises that are building on DIMO. We make it really easy for those that are lacking a digital footprint in the automotive space to really create a digital footprint, specifically around experiences, around brand, around anything that becomes engaging to the user. My first job actually was at a startup accelerator. It was at a nonprofit startup accelerator based in New Orleans, which is an amazing city, but not one that's really known for its startup community. And so our mission there was to try to help and try to grow the startup community in New Orleans. And there were some tech companies that were there, but there were also food trucks and packaged goods and basically every kind of company you can imagine. And so the startup journey is incredibly hard. I mean, I knew it was hard when I was working there then, but now having been doing it myself for the last 4 years, it is incredibly hard and stressful. And it's, we had a saying there was always to pay it forward. And so, I personally, I aim to try to help entrepreneurs all the time. Right now, a friend of mine has sent me his pitch deck last night to help him work on. And that kind of intersects with DIMO a little bit because so many of the companies that we work with that are our customers are startups. And we're trying to enable them to grow a successful business. We are successful when these companies grow their business successfully on DIMO. And yes, we also work with big enterprises and automakers and all kinds of companies like that. But as a startup guy, as an innovation person, I don't believe the big companies are going to build the next wave of really cool products. That's going to come from entrepreneurs. So the thing that I actually get most excited about every day is working with these entrepreneurs at DIMO who are trying to start new businesses, build new products that our existing consumers can take advantage of. If you're interested in learning more about DIMO, there's really two options that you have. If you are a consumer and you want to test out the DIMO mobile app and explore what a car ecosystem is like, go to dimo.co. Check out our site. You can learn a little bit about becoming a user. If you are an entrepreneur, a builder, if you're in an enterprise and you're interested in building on the DIMO developer platform and what that can unlock for your business, check out dimo.org. So, two different calls to action: dimo.co if you want to be a user, dimo.org if you want to be a builder.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries. and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.